Welcome back to A Game of Fangs and Thorns. My name's Hannah, and this is my February 2022 game of TBR. So basically, it's what it says on the tin. This is the game I play every month, near enough, to determine my TBR for the following month. So, I'm playing this the end of January. It is now the 23rd, so we have about a week to go, but I'll put this up on Friday to give you guys time to play along if you want to. But basically, the game board is a giant snakes and ladders board. We go up the ladders, down the snakes. I will roll a 20-sided die to determine how many books I am reading in that month, and then I will roll a normal 6-sided die to move across the board. For every square that I stop on, I pick up a prompt, and those prompts can range from read a purple book to finishing a series. So we'll go from there, and that's the general gist of it. Just to keep myself accountable as well, what I've done is for every book more that I read than I buy, I move a step forward, and then vice versa. So if I buy more than I read, I move a step back. So at the time of filming this, I have hauled a grand total of, well, not officially hauled, but I have bought a total of 8 books, and I have read a total of 10 books. So I will be having an extra move that doesn't count, that I don't need to roll a prompt for, just to make things a little bit interesting. So that's that. I don't do punishments for the TBRs I don't finish, and I don't tend to roll books over just because I can't be bothered, basically. This is just a fun little way for me to decide what I'm reading. I don't want to put any pressure on myself or anything like that. It's just a fun little way of reading. So that being said, if a prompt for this roll fits a book from my January TBR that I haven't got round to, I can roll that forward, provided that it does meet the prompt. So I think that makes sense, and we'll just dive right in. Okay, so we ended last month on square 88, so we'll move 1 forward for the extra, because I read more than I bought this month, so we'll add that extra stuff. We are rolling the 20-sided die to determine how many books I'm reading this month. Please be nice. And it is 20. I roll again. No. Okay, so there will be 20 books on this month's TBR. This is going to be fun. So we will roll 20 times. Okay, so first roll is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the prompt is read a book with clouds on the cover in the title. So roll number 1 was a book with clouds on the cover or in the title. I went for Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I'm counting these things as clouds. This is the finale to the original Mistborn Era 1 trilogy. I can't say too much about it, but it starts with the final empire, the premise of which is what if the Dark Lord won. Magic system in this, I'm sure he knows by now, but the magic system in this is based on metal. Certain people can ingest certain types of metal to have push or pull powers. If you can only ingest one type of metal, you are Allomancer. If you can ingest all of them, you are a Mistborn. So we follow Vin, who is a street urchin, who has been unwittingly using allomancy all her life. She just calls it her luck. She falls in with Kelsier and his band of misfits and fellow allomancers, who are trying to do what can't be done and take over, overthrow the Lord Ruler. So I am interested to see how this ends, because I do know that it is an ending that people will either love or hate, and I'm interested to see how it ends, because I know there is a plague sickness element to it, and in this current time that might be interesting to see what writers and world creators would have done to solve a global pandemic. That's book 1 of 20. Book 2. Mymoda number 1. And the prompt is after hand stuck. Read a book box. Read a book box book. Next was the read a book box pick, and I went for The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I can't quite remember which book box this came from. Whether it's Fairy... Oh, it's Fairy Loot, I think, because there is a Underdust Jacket art, and Fairy Loot tends to do those. But I did leave I think I got bookmark from somewhere else, but I do have a themed bookmark, which is always a good thing. So this follows Aviki, who is the only woman in her pagan village who doesn't have magic. So when soldiers arrive from the Holy Order of Woodsman to claim a girl for the King's Blood Sacrifice, they just sort of throw Aviki at them. Monsters attack, but they slaughter everyone apart from Aviki and the cold One-Eyed Captain. But soon learns that this captain is a disgraced prince, and it is his cruelly zealous brother who plans to seize the throne and instigate again a reign of religious persecution and ethnic cleansing. So this looks like it's a bit of an enemies to lovers romance. A dark, evocative and unforgettable fantasy debut steeped in Hungarian history and Jewish mythology. Perfect for fans of Naomi Novik and Catherine Arden. And I just have to say that this edition is gorgeous. And yes, I will be using my For the Wolf. For the Wolf, or... No, it's not. It's an Ashley Poston bookmark, but I just think it fits. We'll just keep that back in there because it has a crown on it. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For this one, read a book with a one-word title. Next one, read a book with a one-word title. I went for Redempter by Jordan Ifweko. This is the sequel to Rebera, so obviously I can't talk too much about it. But in Rebera we meet Tarasai, who is a lonely old child, whose mother put a curse on her so that she would obey every demand that she makes, but the mother has plans and wants Tarasai to gain the Crown Prince's trust and kill him. So this is the fallout from that. And this one, 5, 1, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up the ladder. And the prompt is read a story set in winter. Might be pushing it a little bit, because this is read a story set in winter, and that is Winterkeep by Kristen Kershaw. This is a companion to the Graceling realm. Winterkeep is a land of miracles, a democratic republic, a place where people speak to telepathic sea creatures and adopt telepathic foxes as pets. But when Queen Bitter Blue's envoys to Winterkeep drown under suspicious circumstances, she and Gideon and her half-sister Hava set off to discover the truth. Lavissa Cavender is the teenage daughter of a powerful scholar with a fire inside her that is always hungry. She's the key to everything, but only if she can figure out what is going on in Winterkeep before anyone else, and only if she's willing to transcend the person she's been all her life. Now, this might be a bit of a cop-out, but it says winter in it. I'm assuming it will have wintry elements. I'm probably wrong, but my game, my rules. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Read a book you got second hand. Next one. Read a book you got second hand. He's alive. This is A Gathering of Shadows by the Ishwar, the sequel to... I've read this one, I'm sure I have. I've read this. This is in the wrong place. Oh no! No, it's A Darker Shade of Magic that was first. Then I've read... Back on track. This is the sequel to A Darker Shade of Magic. Because the back starts pretty much the same. Kel is one of the last magicians with the ability to travel between parallel universes, linked by the magical city of London. This is obviously the fallout to A Darker Shade of Magic, which I did enjoy. It was a very slow, atmospheric read, in which we meet Kel, Lila Bard, and a few other key players, and things went down. So this is the sequel. Hoping this one is less of a setup. The first one felt more of a setup for the series, but read the 3. 1, 2, 3. Read the oldest book on your TBR. Oldest book on your TBR. I'm not sure if this is the oldest, but it is an older. And that is Iron and Magic by Yolona Andrews. Hugh D'Ambray, preceptor of the Iron Dogs, warlord of the Builder of Towers, served only one man. Now his immortal, nearly omnipotent master has cast him aside. Hugh is a shadow of the warrior he was, but when he learns that the Iron Dogs, soldiers who would follow him anywhere, are being hunted down and murdered, he must make a choice. To fade away or to be the leader he was born to be. Hugh knows he must carve a new place for himself and his people, but they have no money, no shelter, and no food, and the necromancers are coming fast. Alara Harper is a creature who should not exist. Her enemies call her Abomination, her people call her White Lady. Tasked with their protection, she's trapped between magical heavyweights about to collide and plunge the state of Kentucky into a war that humans have no power to stop. Desperate to shield her people and their simple way of life, she would accept help from the devil himself, and Hugh D'Ambray might qualify. Hugh needs a base, Alara needs soldiers, both are infamous for betraying their allies, so how can they create a believable alliance to meet the challenge of their enemies? As the prophet says, it is better to marry than to burn. Hugh and Alara may do both. I think this is the first of an extended universe, but it is a very floppy book. I think this might be self-published. I can't find a publisher. Yeah, I think this is self-published, but I'm not 100% sure. Three. 1, 2, 3. Read a book with an animal on the cover. I read a book with an animal on the cover. Now it is very small and my camera might not pick it up. but there is a cat in the bag, so I'm counting that. And this is Starfell, Willow Moss and the Lost Day by Dominic Valente, illustrations by Sarah Warburton. Willow Moss is the least powerful sister in a family of witches, and she has a magical ability for finding lost things like spectacles or socks. I mean, that is useful, but it's not exactly exciting. Then most feared witch in all of Starfell comes asking for Willow's help. Last Tuesday has gone missing, and without it, the whole world could unravel. Now Willow holds the fate of Starfell in her rather unremarkable hands, and this is a very pretty edition with blue sprayed edges and stars. 3. 1, 2, 3. Next prompt is read the start of a new series. Read the start of a new series. Yes, I am finally picking up Nevernight by J. Christoph. This follows Mia, who is only 10 years old when she sees her parents and family die. She goes to the Red Church and is trained as an assassin. And that's pretty much all I know about this, and that's pretty much all I want to know. I do know there is a very interesting character, cat-like character in here called Mr. Kindly, and I am very interested to meet Mr. Kindly. 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, big snake. All the way back down to 64. Which, to be honest, is a good thing. More on the board, yeah. Read a book that you find intimidating. An intimidating book, and that has got to be George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. This is the prequel to the Game of Thrones, following the rise and fall of the Targaryens, and how the battle for the Iron Throne began. This is intimidating because it is 700 pages with very small text, and George R.R. Martin's writing, I find, can be very dense at times and a bit of a slog to get through it. Not saying it's not enjoyable, it can just be a bit of a slog. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's another snake. I'm just going to, you guys can see now. So I've gone back down, all the way down. It is, I need more space, but you know. Read a gifted book. This is Bright with Burn by Kirsten White, the sequel to And I Darken. This was a birthday present from Sean, so thank you, Sean. And this is obviously the sequel, And I Darken, it started with the story of, I've forgotten her name, Lada. And Lada is the daughter of, oops, that's my phone falling. Lada is the daughter of Vladislav Dracula. Dracul. Basically, this is the origin story of Count Dracula. Gender swapped, so we follow Lada, and this is a villain origin story, I would say. But I just noticed this model looks a bit like Cara Delevingne. Did anybody else see that? Well, looking forward to seeing that one. I did really enjoy And I Darken. Very interesting take on the legend that is Vlad Dracula. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't get this one open. It's stuck. Where's the end? What did I think? Read a book with morally grey characters / villain's point of view. Read a book with morally grey characters or villain's point of view. Or was there any other choice? Vicious by V. Ishwar. Don't think anybody needs me to tell you what this is about, but Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognised the same ambition in each other, shared interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events, reveals an intriguing possibility. That under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities, but when their thesis moves from academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. 10 years later, Victor breaks out of prison, determined to catch up to his old friend and now foe. So, there is a little bit more on the synopsis, but I don't really want to read anymore. I'd like to be knowing as little about the books as possible. 3, 1, 2, 1. Up the ladder. Come back. Okay. Read a book with ship in the title or on the cover. We have read a book that's under 400 pages, and that is The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, the sequel to the 5th season. And basically, the season of endings grows darker as civilization fades into the long, cold night. And that's all you're getting, because this is a very interesting story where I think, especially with the 5th season, if you're going to it not knowing anything, you're better off. Well, that's my personal preference anyway, and it's a sequel, so it's hard to talk about. 3, 1, 2, 3. Read a book that's under 400 pages. Read a book with a ship on the cover or in the title. This has both. This is Ship of Shadows by Maria Kuznia. Obviously, ship and ship. Alicia is a dreamer who longs for a life of magic and adventure. When a mysterious ship arrives in her Spanish harbour city, crewed by a band of ruthless women, Alicia knows it sailed right out of a legend and it wants her. But life aboard the Ship of Shadows is more than even she bargained for. It will take all of Alicia's strength and skill to gain the trust of her fellow pirates, and discover what they are risking everything to find. I've heard good things about this one, and I like my middle grade. I think I need more middle grade in this stack. The next one. 3, 1, 2, 3. Read a book with a randomly generated word in the title. Okay, so I am just about to find a word generator. Go. Constraint. Okay. As you'll have seen from the little clip, was read a book with a randomly generated word in the title. I cheated. But it was giving me really, really random words and I cheated. The word it gave me was B. I explained this in the thing, but I'm going to be reading Mymoda. This is the sequel to Bone Season. Basically, we follow Paige, who is a clairvoyant in a world where clairvoyancy is illegal, and she is taken to a near mythical city called Oxford, and things go down from there. This is the sequel. Why do I have so many sequels? Because I like series, and I'm a fantasy reader. That might help. That might explain that one. 2, 1, 2. a book you think will be sad. Read a book that you think will be sad. I went for Deathless, The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I'm thinking this is sad because it is an breathtaking origin story of the brides of Dracula. We follow 17-year-old twins Lil and Kizzy, who I believe are gypsies, but they are captured by the cruel boyar Valkar, forced to work as slaves. And then the sisters hear of a mythical dragon who's more monster than man, who accepts girls as gifts. Their desperate existence is threatened once more. So I think this is going to be quite sad. And I mean, everybody knows what happens to the brides of Dracula, right? 2, 1, 2. Read a borrowed book. Borrowed book was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm borrowing this from my sister, who really enjoyed this. But all I know is that this is a thriller. We follow a psychiatrist who has been asked to give a psych evaluation on a patient. The patient has shot her husband in the head 5 times and then hasn't spoken a word since then. And that's all I want to know. I know The Maidens didn't get a lot of acclaim, but Silent Patient did, so I want to start with Silent Patient. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Book with the Chosen One trope. Silent Patient. Book with the Chosen One trope is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. The Chosen One in this is our main character Zoo's brother. They go to a seer in a famine-stricken village. 2 children. Boy, greatness, he's the chosen one. With the girl, nothingness. Boy dies. Girl takes on the mantle and claims her brother's great destiny as her own. So, a very loose chosen one trope, but I'm taking it because there is a chosen one in there. Whether it's the wrong chosen one or not, we will see. 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to push the camera back again. Next row. Is it 2? And the prompt is read a book about siblings. Stay. Read a book about siblings. We are going for 3 Dark Crowns by Kendall Blake. This is an older book, so I think more people know about it, but in every generation on the island of Fenburn, a set of triplets is born, 3 queens, all equal heirs to the crown, or possessed of a coveted magic. But becoming the queen isn't just about being who you're, just about being born. You have to fight for the throne, on the night that you turn 16. I do have all of these books, and they have been on my table for a while, so we'll get to them. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And for that one is read in non-fiction. I'm going to retire this prompt after this book, and that is read a non-fiction, because I don't really read non-fiction, so I'm bending the rules a little bit, and I've gone for a historical fiction, and I went for Philippa Gregory's The Wise Woman. I know that Gregory does, and Moss, Kate Moss do a lot of research for their books, so it is kind of non-fiction. There's a lot of non-fiction elements to it, but I'm retiring that prompt after this. Alone and vulnerable, Alice joins a nunnery in an attempt to escape poverty, but finds herself thrown back into the outside world when Henry VIII's wreckers destroy her sanctuary. With nothing but her looks, her magic, and her own instinctive cunning, Alice has to tread a perilous path between the faith of her childhood and her own female power. When she falls in love with Hugo, the feudal lord and another woman's husband, she dips into witchcraft to defeat her rival and to win her lover, only to find that magic makes a poor servant but a dominant master. Since heresy against the new church means the stake and witchcraft the rope, Alice's danger is mortal. A woman's powers are no longer safe to use. And this is another second-hand book. They have quite a few second-hand books in this one's TBR. And the last roll is a 2. 1, 2. And the final prompt for February is... Dun, dun, dun. Read a book with a moon in the title or on the cover. The last book was read a book with a moon in the title or on the cover. Moon. And that is The Forest of Stars by Heather Kastner. Left all alone after her mother passes away, 12-year-old Louisa watches the sky for her father. Long ago, a powerful gust of wind stole him away on the wings of his untamed magic. The same magic that stirs within Louisa. As if she is made of hollow bones and too much air, her feet never quite touch the ground. But for all her sky-gazing, Louisa finds her fortune on the ground when she spots a ticket to the carnival beneath the stars. If her father fits in nowhere else, maybe she'll find him in dazzling crowds alongside the other strange feats. Yet after she arrives, a tightrope act ends disastrously and suspiciously. As fate tugs Louisa closer to the stars, she must decide if she's willing to slip into the injured performer's role, despite the darkness plucking at the carnival's magical threads. And there you have it. I am not picking up these books because there are 20, and they are heavy. So what I'm going to do, to give myself an help and to finish last month's TBR, so January's TBR, is I'm going to read those books that cross over first, and I'll count them for January. Unless I can't finish them, then they get finished in February. Does that make sense? So I think, off the top of my head, Obelisk Gate, I think that fulfills the same prompt actually, Winter Keep, 3 Dark Crowns, and I think that's it. Because they were already on my January TBR, and they fit, and I haven't read them at the time of filming this, and they fit prompts for the book, and they obviously fit prompts that I've pulled for February's TBR. They are the books that I'm going to be concentrating on to try and bridge that gap between January and February. Because we all do it, we all for jog games a little bit, I think. But that's it for this video. Let me know what books you've picked to meet my prompts. And as always, I am on the lookout for more prompts. And so let me know what books you would have picked for my prompts. Any suggestions for new prompts. Anything I can do to make this game more exciting, maybe raise the stakes a little bit, and give this video a like if you like it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this, talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!